Welcome to the Total Boss Podcast, and I'm your host, Christiano Green, a podcast where we talk about finding fulfillment through self-development, being a leader of your own life, and getting the most out of it as well. Tenacity, originality, talent, authenticity, and being legendary. It's all about living your best life. Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to another episode of the Total Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Christiano Green, and I'm a shadow healer and life coach for gay men, helping them to move past the past and into the future by living in the present moment. It's harder than you may think it is to do. So this week on the podcast, I really wanted to talk about the topic of joy, the emotion of joy. I know from my own experience and the experience of many people that come to me that joy as an emotion is something that so many people strive for, but also struggle to actually, live in that emotion, especially living in it for extended periods of times. Now, there are a number of different reasons why joy can be difficult to attain. One of those being the fact that joy often comes from, there's a fear of joy. Basically, what I'm trying to get at here is that people fear joy because oftentimes, when joy comes, there's this fear of losing it. So oftentimes when you go to a place of getting joy, like maybe something's happened in your life, you've become, you've embraced your identity, you've embraced your authenticity, right? And you're in that place where you're really, truly living in that place of authenticity. And that's a joyous moment for you. Oftentimes when you get to that place of joy, you start to go, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Something's going to happen because, this feeling can't live on for long. This can't last for long. And I fear the fact that I'm going to lose this joy. So instead of attaining the joy and then feeling that fear that comes over it, we emotionally block ourselves from having it so that we don't end up going into that state of fear and sabotage as well. It's like this mental thing that we block ourselves. We think we're protecting ourselves from the good, but actually what we're doing, we're blocking ourselves from having that good into our life as well. I mean, protecting ourselves from the bad and, like I said, blocking ourselves from the good there. So that's one main reason as well. Also, though, another main reason, though, that a lot of gay men struggle when it comes to joy is that when it comes to mental health, in the gay community, every single category of mental health, whether it is depression, anxiety, addiction, substance abuse, loneliness, bullying, like real isolation, etc., like that, we are 3 times higher than the general population for that. So the experience of being a gay man leads to higher mental health problems. And of course, when you're in that state of struggling with your mental health, whether that's depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, it could be, like I said, substance abuse, addictions, whatever it is, you're not in a place where you're going to be even thinking about joy. Because really sometimes you're in a place of, how do I get through today? I really just want to survive. And you're in this, survival mode. It's what we call the flight or fight mode, where you're like constantly looking around for something that's going wrong and trying to protect yourself. And sometimes what we do is, in a sense of protecting ourselves, we strip away any sense of emotion. So we can be very void of emotions. Of course, we feel them, but we don't tap into them in the same way. So basically, we might not be empathic or compassionate to other people because we just don't have the ability to be that way for ourselves. So if we can't be that way for ourselves, then it's going to be very difficult for us to be that way for somebody else. So we become void of emotions as well. And so when you're void of emotions, looking for joy and experiencing joy is going to be very difficult because you're blocking yourself, right? You're blocking yourself. And like I said, when you're dealing with strong mental health stuff or strong emotional stuff, related to traumas, growing up, with the internalized experience as a gay man, it is going to be a lot harder for you to experience joy, whether that is for a small moment or whether it is for a very long time as well. So it's just about focusing on what's the best thing for you to do. So instead of just talking about how difficult it is for us to experience joy in our lives, I wanted to actually share some ways that we as gay men, queer people, can actually, enhance and live in more in the essence of joy. Because that's something that at the moment I'm really focused on trying to be able to do. Even for myself, who's someone who I would class as, a high focus on personal development, high focus on growth, high focus on, self-care, high focus on healing, high focus on learning and evolving and understanding myself and really, figuring out that. I still struggle at times when it comes to joy. Now, oftentimes people are going to go, what do you mean? Like, if you've done all the healing, you've done all the growth, you've done all this stuff, how can you struggle with joy? Well, when you go on a journey deeper into your own personal development, oftentimes what happens is that, you want to make all these different changes. And there's part of me that still feels like a bit of a perfectionist in a way, like, I've never achieved what it is that I've fully set out for. And so when I have that mindset of that, it's hard to get to a place of joy because you're never necessarily satisfied. Now, I've been working hard on that myself, and I'm often giving myself grace and trying to find the joy. And every day I spend time on gratitude, right? So for me, trying to bring out and enhance the essence of joy is something important in me because it's one of my highest values. It used to not be so high on my values, but recently I did a lot of work with it with one of my coaches, and we've been able to actually enhance joy and actually move it up to one of the top 5 of my life values, which is joy now. So, which is awesome. And so I'm really focused on looking on how can I bring joy into my life. So let's talk about some ways that are going to be super helpful for you as gay men, queer men, that's going to, like I said, enhance that for yourself. So the first one I've kind of already mentioned, which is embracing your identity, embracing your authenticity. So a big sense of joy for many gay men is going through that coming out experience and really just getting to a place of embracement and acceptance and self-love when it comes to your sexuality. The whole coming out experience is quite an emotional one. And a lot of that comes with a lot of joy that comes from it. So depending on where you are in your journey or where you are right now, you may be, like I said, struggling to feel that way. But if you can go back and look at some of your coming out experiences, maybe you can relate to, actually, there was some joy in that, right? So thinking about what happened in the past that you remember where you've had joyous moments as well. So if you're in a place where, like I said, I look back on my life and I go, really that time when I was really my most authentic, it was my most real. I had, like I was able to shine as who I am and people saw me for who I was. That was a joyous moment for me. That will allow you to also go back and go, hey, look, if I can do that in the past, I can also do that again. So embracing yourself, your sexuality, all parts of yourself and living authentically is such an important and helpful and easier way to live more in joy. Now, of course, there are many things that block us from being able to do that. And again, traumas from the past, fears and judgments of other people, our inner saboteurs, the whole experience of the internalized experience of coming out and being gay also has a big hold on trying to be authentic and embracing yourself. And also there's a part of you that might fear for your safety, depending on where you are in the world as well. So like I said, trying to work through some of those things, which is a lot of the stuff that I do with the clients that come to me, the people who come to me, they're on that journey of looking for joy, looking for happiness, looking for self-love, looking for freedom and acceptance in their life. And so helping them to fully embrace their identity, fully embrace their authenticity is important because that's a great step forward for them to truly live as who they are, which is going to allow you to, like I said, release yourself from the shit from the past and then bring more joy into yourself because you're living. And when you're living and you're alive, that is joyful. That is a lot of joy that comes from it as well. Another way that you're going to find that you're going to bring a lot of joy into your life is by nurturing meaningful relationships in your life, whether that is with your family, whether that is with your friends, whether that is with your colleagues at work, whether that is with your hookups, whether that is with a partner, whatever it is. As long as you can find some meaningful relationships in your life, and of course, to really have true meaningful relationships, we really need to embrace our identity and embrace our authenticity, because it's really hard for you to have a meaningful relationship when you're not being authentic, because you not being authentic, people can pick up on that, and vice versa. If you're not being authentic, you're not going to get someone who's going to be authentic to you. So for you to really have the meaningful relationships, you need to do some of the work so that you can get to a place of truly being authentic in your life. And of course, when you do that, you become and cultivate meaningful relationships, and having meaningful relationships bring us the most joy in life, right? If I was to do a survey of, say, 5,000 people, relationships would be up there in, the top 2 or 3 of the most important things that are out there. The other things being money, and the other thing probably being, say, career or purpose. But the top 3 things are those 3 things. So having meaningful relationship is important to us, and it brings us a lot of joy. So if you're someone who's on the journey of trying to do that, how can you create more meaningful relationships in your life? Like I said, whether it's your family, friendships, colleagues, whoever, partner, whatever it is, as long as you can cultivate that, you're going to start to feel more sense of joy in your life as well. Another thing would be is to engage in things that you are passionate about and that you are really interested in, right? So, for example, something that really brings me a lot of joy is playing tennis. Now, I've always loved tennis. And for a long period of time, when I was young, I used to play it all the time. I was in all these competitions, blah, 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 blah. But then when I got caught up into the gay scene and partying, just didn't do that. And so that was something that was blocking a part of joy that was in my life. But over the past 2 or 3 years, I've made a conscious effort to get back into it. And now I play tennis once or twice every week, and I love it. And it brings me a lot of joy. So what are some of the things that are in your life that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, and that bring you joy? Another thing for me is coaching and supporting and helping other gay and queer people to be able to live authentically and embrace their identity as well, right? So being able to help people grow and heal from the past allows me and brings me so much joy, because seeing other people win, seeing other people shine is something that really brings me a lot of joy. So I did that, and I chose to do that for my career. And it's because that is me creating something from scratch, doing something and backing myself, but also helping other people. And when I see other people get that, like I said, it brings me a lot of joy to contribute to the world in some way, in a positive manner as well. So that's another thing that we can do. Another thing which is a really good thing for us to focus on is actually practicing self-care and, say, mindfulness things, right? Now, there are so many ways out there that we can practice and harness self-care in our lives. Now, you might think of things like, even just going for a nice walk, listening to some good music that puts you in a good state of mind, watching a movie or a show that evokes some sort of, emotion in you, or causes you to relax, having a great conversation with someone, really pampering yourself and maybe getting a massage, or going to like the spa and doing like the ice baths and the saunas, and just, getting some sun, vitamin D, right? All of these in many different ways that you can go out and you can do self-care for yourself. So like, this isn't a topic on self-care, but that's just a few ways that I'm thinking about it. And when you do have self-care, oftentimes, like I said, you can get into a state of joy as well, right? Like if you enjoy being pampered, you can bring joy into your life by just doing some things that are, like I said, are taking care of yourself. Because putting yourself first and really taking care of, yourself, it's a gift. And so when you can give a gift to yourself, you can feel that joy for yourself. So really understanding that. Now, of course, there are deeper levels of it. People can be, into meditation, into healings, into like getting coaching, into like doing some shadow work, etc. Right? That's all part of self-care. And that's also part of you being able to understand what is the right path for you. What is something that you can do that is self-care that's going to bring you joy? Because when you sort out the shit that's going on in our lives, you get to a better place. And when you can get to a better place, you're on the path to joy as well. So that's another great way that you can bring that joy into your life and harness it as well. Next one is connecting with other people in this queer community, right? Oftentimes, connecting and meeting people and having understanding that people have gone through similar experiences to you, and, having some camaraderie and, a sense of belonging and shared experiences brings a lot of joy, because then you just feel so less alone and isolated. I know when I struggled with my own coming out experience and with the fact of being gay, I thought I was alone, because I lived in a town where there was no other openly gay people. I only ever saw something on TV that was negative. And so for me, I was feeling, this is an awful life. This is something that I don't have anyone to relate to. But when I first started to come out, I went out to the gay clubs and I got so caught up in the culture there because I was surrounded by gay and queer people. And it just made me feel a sense of belonging, a sense of camaraderie. I found friendships. And that, again, brought me a hell of a lot of joy. And I did that for many, many years, well over 10, 15 years. I've got caught up in it and I overdid it many, many times. But, it was a big part of my life and it did bring a lot of joy, even though it caused a lot of other issues because I had substance abuse stuff. But I'm not saying you have to take it to the extreme, but I've been able to now harness it back in and I can do things and I can enjoy them in many different ways as well. Another great way is that you can actually go even further and you can actually advocate for, LGBTQ queer rights and equality. Get out there and, be a part of what's going on in your community and trying to, spark some good things and spark some change, whether it's societal changes or whether it's political changes, right? When it comes to equality, what can you do to support this community in its purpose? That's, again, another reason why I do what I do, because I love to be able to advocate and support other people in this community and work towards bigger issues as well, like try to change, minds of collective people out there by doing what I do and sharing what I share on social media, like I said, through this podcast and beyond as well. So those are ways that you can also cultivate some joy, because I get joy in the fact that, like, I might be in a discussion with someone and they can be really heated and throwing a lot of hate at me. But if I come from a place of love and I try to, guide the conversation and get them curious and I change someone's mind, I get joy from the fact that, hey, I just advocated and now one person here has shifted their perspective, or multiple people, depending on the situation, because, that's what can happen. So it's interesting to be able to do that. And if you haven't been able to be an advocate, that's a great way for you to jump in there, become a part of the community, create more friendships and meaningful connections, hopefully. And then also, like I said, make some social changes or political changes, or just be an advocate and support other gay or queer people. You'll start to feel a sense of joy and purpose, because you, like I said, living a life of purpose as well. So that's a great way as well. Another thing would be to really live your life to the absolute fullest. Now, we talked about embracing your identity and embracing authenticity. But let's go even deeper there and actually talk about living your life to the absolute fullest. Because when you can live your life to the absolute fullest, I'm just feeling joy just by actually, imagining it. Because when you can look at all the areas of your life, and we were talking about, your self-care and your relationship with yourself, your mindset, your emotional regulation, your relationships, all the different kinds of relationship with its partner, whether it's family, friends, continuation like that. Whether it's your health and fitness, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your career, whether it is adventure, whether it's having a happy home. If you're living your life to the fullest and actually living that essence of joy on a daily basis, that will bring that joy and increase it and enhance it. Because absolutely living your life to the fullest means that you are probably living in a state of joy on a continuous basis. Because when you're full, you're grateful, you're living in that state of joy. So some of the highest emotions that you can have out there is love, gratitude, and joy, right? So those are the ones that you want to focus on. If you want to cultivate more joy or more gratitude or more love, then focus on some of that. So what can you be more grateful for in your life? And as soon as you start to focus on some gratitude and you start living your life to the fullest and doing that, you'll cultivate more joy in your life than you can ever imagine. So I hope these tips have been super helpful for you. What I'd love to be able to do and hear from you guys is, on your journey of joy, to getting to a state of joy, what's been the things that have been holding you back? What is currently holding you back, right? We've talked about embracing your identity. We talked about, struggling from the pain of the past, right? If there's something that you really feel like you need, I really want you to comment that below in the comments, whether this is on whatever platform you're listening to it on, or you can send them directly to me as well. Now, if you're looking for a path forward that I think would be, I like, and you want my support on that, I have got a course. It's called the 21-Day Gay Men's Guide to Love and Happiness online course. And it's literally designed to help you get rid of that shit from the past, focus on yourself, and help you to cultivate that joy in your life. Because on the path to happiness, it's about also cultivating joy and love. Like I said, if you're looking to bring more joy in your life, how can you bring more love in as well? And the same thing, if we're focusing on happiness, we're focusing on the path of joy as well. So it's all those different areas. It's a 21-day online course. I'm going to link that link below. If you're someone who really would feel like this might be helpful and you there, it's super affordable. It's super easy to be able to do. It's a great community of gay men who are doing it as well. I'll shut up now and I'll send the link below. So if you want to look that up, you look that up. And always know that, I'm here to support you on that journey. Other than that, like I said, comment below, share below. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Total Boss podcast. But until then, always remember that you have got this and I have got you. Bye for now.